For those thinking about retiring in 5 or 10 years, here's our 4 top tips for preparing your retirement portfolio. Hi, I'm Marcus De Silva. I've been in the investment industry for 15 years, teaching DIY investors simple strategies that help them invest sensibly for a better future. There's lots of podcast conversations and tutorials on the Steps to Investing YouTube channel. Check them out, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for all of the latest. If retirement is achingly close for you, let's say 5 or 10 years away, you are probably thinking about how to start preparing for it all. Whether it's for golf shoes or hiking boots, mini breaks or round the world cruises, what you're most likely pondering are the income options you will have with the pot that you've saved. Pension freedoms that were introduced around 10 years ago mean the government affords us total flexibility with our retirement savings. Blow it all on a 60-foot motorhome and have no money to fuel it? No problemo. But this also means a whole bunch of choices to find inevitably confusing. Some pensions you won't need to think about that much, such as final salary schemes or the state pension, which will just pay out a certain level of income each year. Others may require some financial decisions, namely defined contribution workplace schemes and private pensions, such as the self-invested personal pension, or SIP. The main decision tends to be whether you buy an annuity, that's a guaranteed income stream, or draw down your pot at the point you retire. Which of these routes you choose can impact what you do with your retirement savings in the run-up. In this tutorial, we explore this and offer our 4 top tips for getting your portfolio in ship shape well in advance of the sun setting on your career. One last thing before we delve into our suggestions, they are just that, and this is not financial advice. If you want more support, the government actually has a really good free pension guidance service called PensionWise. If you're over 50 years of age, you'll receive a free 60-minute consultation. Alternatively, if you're willing to pay for tailored advice specific to your financial circumstances, then there are financial advisors that will do this for you. Just a quick note on our sponsor, the Brunner Investment Trust. It's managed by the renowned money manager, Allianz Global Investors. Now, Brunner invests in the shares of companies from around the world, so it's very diversified, and it primarily aims to deliver growth of your money as well as some income from dividends. Please check out their website to find out more at brunner.co.uk. Of course, this is not a recommendation, and investing comes with risk, which means the value of your investments can go down as well as up. Okay, let's get to it. Tip number 1, know what you have. A good start to preparing for retirement is understanding exactly what it is that you have. First, there are your old and current workplace pensions. Over a lifetime, you may move jobs and houses a fair bit, which means it's easy to lose sight of them. Not to worry, the government has a service to help. It's called the Pension Tracing Service. Tracking them all down and putting them under one roof in a private pension like a SIP can simplify things and may leave you open to more attractive fees and better investment options, while still offering all of the benefits of tax protection and potentially tax relief on contributions. Private pensions can be accessed much earlier than the state pension at 55, rising to 57 in 2028. At this point, 25% can be taken tax-free, with the remaining 75% potentially liable for income tax. However, it's important to remember that pension consolidation isn't always appropriate. For example, potentially with final salary schemes, which can be very valuable left as they are. If you're thinking about transferring one of those schemes, financial advice comes highly recommended. And indeed, if the value of your final salary pension is over £30,000, the FCA instructs that you must have financial advice. Your online broker will have more information if you have any questions, as will the government's Money Helper website. Next, there is the state pension, the payout of which is dependent on your national insurance contributions. Check out your personal record at gov.uk. You will need 35 years for the full state pension, which in the tax year 24-25 is £11,502 per year. Third, there are your ISAs, which are important in retirement because unlike your pensions, withdrawals do not count as taxable income. Finally, you may also have some properties which produce income. Check out our previous video on property versus pension for your retirement. Forming a holistic picture of all of your assets will give you an idea of potentially taxable and non-taxable sources of income. This, in the round, is a starting point for our next tip, understanding the lifestyle you might be able to afford. Tip number 2, think about the lifestyle you want in retirement. Drawing up a list of the things you want to do in retirement alongside a budget, estimating how much they will cost, will give you some perspective on how far away you are from enough. The Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association reckons for a comfortable lifestyle, a single person needs £43,100 per year and a couple £59,000 a year. Please check out their website if you want to see a breakdown of the costs they include. One important consideration is the potential impact of inflation on your income, as it may require you to draw more during inflationary flare-ups. It means diversification becomes more important than ever, as do investments that include assets that have a fighting chance of outstripping inflation. More of that in a sec. Tip number 3, decide if you want to buy an annuity or simply draw down your savings. When you are younger and in the long accumulation phase of building up your retirement savings, the strategy tends to be pretty easy. Contribute as much as you can and invest in growth assets in order to grow the value of your portfolio. But as you start to approach retirement, you will need to decide how you will generate income in retirement. Broadly, there are 2 options. You can buy an annuity from an insurance company, that's a guaranteed income stream, or you can draw down your portfolio. Annuities come in many different forms, with some payments that remain flat and others that escalate over time or respond to inflation. The downside is the decision to buy one is often irreversible, and there may be no passing them on to loved ones when you die, depending on the nature of the annuity terms. Importantly, because you buy an annuity with a big lump of cash, in the run-up to retirement, you will need to reduce the risk in your portfolio in order to secure its value and avoid being at the mercy of stock market volatility at the moment you want to retire. Broadly, this means shifting out of riskier assets such as shares and into lower risk assets such as cash and government bonds. As a general rule of thumb, guidance points to starting this process about 10 years beforehand. In contrast, drawdown requires a different approach because you may wish to remain invested throughout your retirement in order to generate an income and also ensure that the pot lasts 30 or more years. This means de-risking your portfolio too much is potentially unwise. That said, you'll probably still want to stabilize its value and start thinking about how it will generate income. Let's think about that in our final tip. Tip 4, get diversification right. In the accumulation phase, the ups and downs of portfolio values matter far less. But as you approach retirement and move into the decumulation phase, you will need to build resilience into your portfolio for it to be able to withstand different market environments and consistently churn out a steady income stream. This means proper diversification and asset allocation becomes ever more crucial. So what do we mean by this? Well, making sure that you invest in different and somewhat uncorrelated parts of the financial markets so that if there's an issue in one area, other investments in different areas can counteract its impact. There are a number of ways to do this. You might want to consider investing in different classes of financial assets that are available to us. Shares and bonds are the main 2, and there are many flavors within those sectors. But you could also consider alternative assets, such as infrastructure and commodities, private assets such as private equity and private debt, or property-related investments. In addition to asset class diversification, there is geographical diversification, making sure you dip your toes into various markets around the world, which are powered by different underlying economies. Then there are income-producing assets, such as equity income funds which seek dividend-paying companies, or potentially lower-risk bond funds that invest in government and corporate debt. Given your potentially long retirement, you may also wish to balance income investments with growth assets, such as smaller companies that will keep the value of your portfolio powering upwards and diversify it across different investing styles. Finally, as the cost of living crisis reminds us, don't forget about assets that have a fighting chance against inflation. For example, shares or gold, which history shows tend to fare better than bonds in an inflationary environment. Well, I hope you found that useful. In our next approaching retirement tutorial, we will examine the income options you have and how to craft an income producing portfolio that lasts.